Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of A Gardener's Journey Homestead. I am Barbara. Thank you so much for stopping by my channel today. I'm in the high tunnel and going to be in the outside garden. It is dreary here today. It rained overnight and it's a little wet. Well, it's a lot of wet outside. It's dreary. But y'all, the time changed this weekend and I'm having to rearrange my whole garden thinking, schedule, planning, work, because it's getting dark. I'm in zone 7A in Tennessee. It is literally going to be dark at 4:45, which is literally in an hour from now. It is 3:30 in the afternoon. And y'all, one thing I do love about the summer is that it stays light for so late. I can get a lot of stuff done. Especially, I'm working in my business and stuff like that. So a lot of times I don't get out here to the afternoon. So I'm having to rethink. And I'm trying to remember, what did I do last year? What did I do last year? I don't remember, but it's kind of thrown me for a loop. I was in my office working and I was like, oh, I got to get outside before it gets dark. So today, I am going to plant some stuff in the high tunnel. I want to show you my seedlings that we got started. And then I think I'm going to plant the rest of the garlic left over in the outside garden. So that's what we have on tap for today. So I bought these collard green plants. So I have 12, to finish, not maybe finish. I don't know if it'll fill it all the way in, but to fill in those rows, just because I started some seeds, but it's taken a little bit longer than usual to get them going. So I went ahead and bought those to kind of fill in because I'm trying to get the row filled in, and ideally, much as possible, I wanted them to kind of grow together. But that's not happening because I've started it in so many successions or stages. But that's okay. But I'm just not afraid, but I want to make sure I have enough collard greens, right? I want 3 full rows of collard greens. So I bought those while my other plants, other seeds are trying to germinate and percolate. The other thing is I'm also going to do some fertilization today. So the fertilization that I'm using today is by Fox Farm. I used this summer and I really liked it. And I was at the nursery last week and they had some. No, you know what? They did have some at the nursery last week, but the price was not what I wanted to pay. So I just went right on Amazon while I was right in the store to kind of price check. Amazon had it like $9 cheaper. And so I put that back on the shelf at the nursery and I ordered it from Amazon and it came this weekend. But this is Grow Big liquid plant food. I'm going to fertilize with that because I feel like some of my stuff is just moving a little bit slow in the ground. And so I want to make sure that I'm fertilizing everything. And so that's on task for today too. So we have a lot to get done in the next 60 minutes. So let's just get to it. Let me show you the seedlings. So we started these a week ago and I finally have germination. This literally just came up yesterday. You can see the Swiss chard hasn't germinated at all. But I have germination in the champion greens. Both rows of that is germinated except one. The kale has germinated except one. The broccoli looks like except one. And then none of our carrots have germinated yet. But overall, decent germination. So one thing I have definitely noticed that with the change in temperature, the change in germination, it is certainly not germinating as fast as when it does in the summer. Usually in the summer, by day 3, stuff is popping up. And this took a good 6-7 days for the most part. I think we started this together a week ago. And so it's germinated. It's just taking a lot longer because it's not nearly as hot. All last week, it was like low 70s here. And of course, in the greenhouse, in the tunnel, it gets warmer. But of course, that's nothing to compare to when it's 90-something degrees outside in the summertime. The other thing today that I want to talk about is that we're preparing for another freeze. So we had our first frost literally about 2 or 3 weeks ago, right around October the 19th, which is what the Farmer's Almanac said. So we did have, I think, 3 nights of below freezing temperatures. Everything survived. It went well. Well, we have another one in the forecast starting Thursday night. And it's supposed to get to 28 and then one night to 24. So like it's for real, like for real, for real. So we did a lot of preparation. Remember when that freeze came about 2 to 3 weeks ago? But now I'm thinking, I mean, like, this is the for real deal, 20 something. 24 is different than 32. So, I mean, it is, but it isn't. You know what I mean? So, but of course, everything for the most part outside is frost hardy, so it should be okay. But of course, we will be covering the stuff in the back of the house. And I got to tell y'all, I'll have to tell y'all that on another video when I show you the back of the house, about what I did for the last frost thing. It worked out, but it wasn't ideal. So we got to get ready for that. And one of the things I'm going to be focusing on this week is I'm going to close the high tunnel probably 24 to 36 hours before the freeze is expected, so that I can try to trap some heat in here, because 24 degrees, I mean, a lot of times the high tunnel, of course, is going to be warmer, but when it gets low like that, the same temperature that's outside is going to be the temperature inside. And we do have the capacity for electricity in the tunnel. We just have not hooked it up yet. So we have to get a propane tank out here. So we do have the ability to do, like, all of the stuff is wired and the infrastructure is in here. It's just getting propane out here. So we just haven't done that yet. So let's get to it. You saw the seedlings. So the first thing we're going to do is let's work on the garlic, because that's outside. And worst case scenario, I can still come back inside and turn the lights on in the high tunnel. So let me show you the garlic that we had left over. So if you saw my video last week, I planted garlic in the back of the house. I'll link that video here. But I ran out of space, and so I have 2.5 bulbs of garlic that I'm just going to plop out here. I don't want to lose it. I don't want to, I don't want to lose it. And I'm out of space in there. Don't really have space in here in the raised bed. So I thought, let's put it out there, and it'll be good to go, and it won't take up that much space. Now, in deciding where to put it, because I don't have a plan yet for the summer and where things are going to be, and I wasn't planning on putting garlic out here, I'm just going to use this last row on the right for the garlic. And we know, of course, it's going to have to be in here probably through June, which should still work out fine, because one of the things I know I want to do different next summer is, remember I had the planting party, and I'll probably still do the planting party that I did last year, but instead of trying to plant the entire outside garden all on the same day at the same time, I definitely need to break it up into more successions and waves. And so if I have the garlic out here and it can't come out to June, then that's going to force me, at least for that particular section or row, to plant something a little bit later, which I could do like my green beans or something. But when you want to do, when you're doing the succession planting, especially in a big space like this, it allows you to be able to harvest at different times and not everything coming up at one time. So I think I'm going to use this. That's the best plan, I think, for right now. And then I'll have to work around that when I do my full plan for the summer. So I'm going to put these cloves in here and get them planted. Okay, we got that done. So that was probably about, I think it was 23 cloves that I counted that got planted. And so this is a 100-foot row. So it didn't take up, let's see, maybe 30% of the row. So the rest of the row behind it, I had planted some kale, and that's about it. And there's nothing in front of it. So I'm thinking about buying some more garlic and just finishing out the row. I'll think on those things. I may just leave well enough alone. We'll see. But now let's go in the high tunnel and we'll plant the collard greens. Okay, that actually filled the whole row, those 12. So the very last row is completely done. So you probably saw me digging it up, planting the transplant in there. Then I went back and filled it in with some fresh potting soil. I'll cover it with wood mulch. I'm going to go ahead and water it in first, and then I'll cover it with wood mulch to help insulate it and to protect it and to help retain moisture. And hopefully these will survive. I don't know what happened to the last ones that I put in here. The transplants I put in these same spots. So I went ahead and did new soil and fertilized it as well. Put some all-purpose plant food. So hopefully they will be fine. So we are trucking right along. It is probably 15 or 20 more minutes before it starts to get dark. So I'm going to do some fertilization and then we'll do an overall watering. Okay, so what I'm going to do this time, you see this, this is a 20-gallon trash can. I've used this before when I've done worm casting tea. So on a previous video, I told y'all that I bought this pump sprayer that's trash, and I was just going back and forth using that. So I think a viewer gave me this suggestion. I'm actually going to fill this up. I've already put the fertilizer in there, enough for 10 gallons. So I'm going to fill this halfway full, and then just keep using my watering can to dump in and out. That'll at least save me from having to put the solution in my watering can every time, filling it up with water. It'll be in just this one bucket. So we're going to try it, see if it works. Okay, friends, I'm going to go ahead and end this video and finish watering. So that way, by the time I come back, it's not pitch black dark. But the putting the fertilizer in the trash can worked much better. Ideally, I still want like a nice pump sprayer. That would be so much easier. But that worked a lot better because I could just go fill up the watering can. I got 1, 2, 3, 4... about 4 beds done with those 10 gallons of water, 4.5. So I'll pick up where I left off tomorrow and fertilize the part that's in the ground. So yeah, that worked out really much better. So whoever gave me that tip, thank you so much. I appreciate you guys leaving me tips and comments or whatever, because again, we're all learning and growing together. I'm glad that I got my collard greens in. And so the seeds that I planted, you may be wondering, well, why did you start seeds if you were going to go buy some? Well, I bought some because I wanted to go ahead and get that done and get established and be a little bit ahead. But the seeds that I have started, I'm going to use those to kind of go in and fill in spots, and also to fill the bed that had the squash in it that we have the flowers in. I'll put some stuff in there, probably the kale. I wanted to do the Swiss chard. I may direct sow the Swiss chard and see if that'll help. But that's going to go in that bed. And then there's several places within the stuff that's in the ground that needs to be filled in. So I will do that. And now I wish I would have started 2 trays of seeds, because with the weather getting into the 20s, it's going to be hard for seeds to germinate in here. I would have to bring them into my house, which that's an option, but I just don't want to. But yeah, so I'll use the seeds that I've that I've started to fill in the gaps, as well as to fill that bed that had the squash. So all is not lost. You know, I'm going to use it. But I'm glad that I had some transplants. I'm going to see if those work, kind of go ahead and get us going, and then I'll fill in the rest. Plus, this week, I'm going to see if I can get my husband to come down here and help me pull out the remaining jalapeno pepper plants and the bell pepper plants. I did harvest on Thursday or Friday last week, and I got, I would say probably 10 bell peppers and a gazillion jalapeno peppers. But I know in the 20-degree weather, they're not going to make it. So I just need his manpower to pull them out. I just couldn't get them out of the ground. They're really rooted. So I'm gonna get him to pull those up out of the ground, and that'll give me like space for I don't know, 6 to 8 more things. So again, either I'll direct seed or I'll use the seeds that I've already planted. But thank you guys so much for joining me today on this journey of just getting some stuff done. And I'm having to rearrange my thinking of when I'm going to be in the garden because the time changed. And so if you're like in a zone like me, like zone 7, where it starts to get dark around 4:30, tell me what you're doing. Like, how are you changing things if you normally work in your garden or your raised beds or all your stuff in the evening? What are you doing? Let me know. I guess there's nothing to it but to change the time I do it, I guess. But anyway, send me some comments and suggestions. For those that live, I guess, further east, you probably have another hour more than I do before it gets dark. But that's this time of the year. So I'm just going to have to plan accordingly. It's going to be a challenge, especially during the week, because my days during the week are usually pretty full. And I can come out here, usually like to, do a quick little something and water, but I don't have like hours on end usually in the daytime. But we will figure it out, because you know what? It's going to have to get done. But the beauty of it is that in the fall and the winter, of course, there's much less to do than in the summertime. It is a lot of maintenance, versus the summertime. It's the everyday hustle. It's every day, all day. So at least it is a slower pace. But thank you guys for joining me. Remember, this is all a journey. If you like what you're seeing, you like this content, certainly subscribe to my channel, tell a friend, tell a neighbor. I would love to have you as part of this community. And again, it's not just about me. It's about all of us sharing our experiences, our tips, our suggestions, because it's a journey and we are growing together. I'll see you next time, friend.